Hey everybody, Patrick Manchester with Manchester Properties. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a happy and safe New Year and a wonderful holiday season. But as we gear up for this 2023 real estate season, I kind of want to give everybody an idea of where we're at and maybe kind of dispel some of the doom and gloom that we're all kind of hearing about the real estate market, at least locally. If you're looking at the stats right now, I think it's more interesting than anything. It's not terrifying just yet. But one of the things that we always talk about in these videos is, how to value a home. And obviously that's based on supply and demand. And what we talk about in the real estate industry is months supply worth of inventory. So if you look at El Paso County right now, there are just over 1,000 active existing single family homes. Existing meaning that they're not new builds. I weed those out. So again, just over 1,000 active existing single family homes in all of El Paso County. And then if you look at the last 30 days worth of sales, there's been right at 500 sales in the last 30 days. So what that means is we have about 2 months worth of inventory. So in normal times, that still means it's a very seller-friendly market. 6 months is kind of considered balanced. More than 6 months worth of inventory is considered a buyer-friendly market. Less than 6 months is generally considered seller-friendly. And if you look at our last couple of years, it's been extremely low inventory. It's been days worth of inventory, and that's why you're seeing these skyrocketing prices. So again, I think there's a lot of doom and gloom in the media. I think even from our own industry, there's a lot of negativity coming out about what 2023 is going to look like. As of right now, I don't think we're there yet. If you look at the 500 houses in El Paso County that have sold over the last 30 days, the average days on market is 44. Yeah, and that's higher than it's been for sure, but that's still not a long time. If you remember, like 2009 through basically like 2013, a lot of houses were sitting on the market for 6, 8, 10, 12 months before going under contract. So if the average over the last 30 days of these solds has been 44 days, that's still super seller friendly. That's still a very seller beneficial market. I think the highest days on market over the last 30 days was 185 days, which is just over 6 months. But if you dig into it, the few houses that sat that long were just drastically overpriced to begin with. So I think those were kind of outliers. For things that are priced right and are presented well, they're still moving in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, which again is still, if you look at like a historical average, that's still incredibly quick. So it is still a seller-friendly market. And what I'm kind of seeing is, and this is going to sound kind of contradictory, but I don't think values are dropping yet. I think we're seeing prices drop. And what I mean by that is, over the last, basically since COVID started, so the beginning of 2020 till July of 2022, when rates were crazy low, we were seeing people pay above value, above appraised value. And people were writing these into the contract. They'd say they'd pay $20, $30, $40, $50,000 over the appraised value, which was insane. We've never seen anything like that before. And so now I don't think these values are dropping. I think the prices that people are paying are dropping. And I think it's more in line with what these houses are actually worth. And I know people will jump in here and be like, a house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it. But those 2.5 years were such an outlier market. We've never seen anything like that before. And now with these prices coming down to be more in line with at least the appraised value and what the comparable sales say the house is worth, I think that's more of a rational market. So the biggest change that we're seeing, something that we haven't seen in a couple of years, is seller paid concessions are coming back. So whereas these houses where the sale prices are starting to come down and be more in line with the value of the home, we're also starting to see sellers offering $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to buy down the buyer's interest rate. Sometimes that's a straight buy down where it lowers the interest rate for the life of the loan. Some of it is like a 2-1 buy down, and we can talk about what that means in a different video. But it's basically 2 years of a benefit, and then the rate slowly climbs back up. But that's something that we haven't seen in a number of years, and even on like median priced homes, like $400,000 and $500,000 homes, I'm seeing $10,000 to $15,000 seller paid concessions going to buy down these rates. So that's the biggest difference, where we're starting to see some not necessarily downward pressure on values, just it's slowed down to the point where buyers are starting to get more comfortable asking for concessions. And if a seller's been on the market for 60, 90 days, they might be willing to offer that because their house didn't sell in the first 4 days like it would have at the beginning of 2022. So with that being said, where do I think the real estate market's going to go in 2023? Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but reading kind of what experts are saying, everybody tends to agree that mortgage rates they're probably going to tick up a little bit here in the first part of 2023, and then either plateau or start to dip towards the end. So if everything stays in this 6.5 to 7.5% range, interest rate wise, I think we could see a little bit of downward pressure on values. I don't think it's going to be 20 to 25%, at least here in El Paso County. But like I said, we may see a little bit of downward pressure. But unless we get more inventory, unless we like 5 times our inventory, I just don't see us having a huge dip. If you look at 2008, 2009, when it crashed, we had 6,000, 6,500 houses on the market. We're sitting at 1,000 right now. And I think what's going to prevent that number from coming up too much is you've got a lot of people that either refied or bought over the last 3 to 4 years. So if you've got a house and your mortgage is at 2.5 to 4%, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow to sell that and then go take on a new mortgage at 6.5 or 7.5%. So I think a lot of people that would be selling in these next couple of years are just going to hunker down and keep their house. And I think that's going to keep our inventory kind of artificially lower than it would have been. So at the same time, with these higher rates, I think a lot of people are not going to be shopping. So we are going to have less listings and less buyers. So I think what's going to happen is it's just going to slow down. We might see less sales volume, but I don't think these prices are going to drastically dip. And all of that is to say, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that people are still moving here. People still want to live here. It's one of the best places to live. There's still people that do need to sell. There's people that are like downsizing. There's people that have growing families and need to get into something bigger. So sales are going to happen every single day of the year. It's just going to be a different approach. It's going to be a little bit slower, and I think we have to be a little bit more intentional than we have been over the last couple of years. But I've been around I'm coming up on my 15th year of selling houses in Colorado Springs and Monument. I do head up to Denver every once in a while as well. I've done a handful of deals up there over the last couple of years. But I do like to imagine that I know what I'm doing. If you know of anybody looking to buy or sell a house in the next 6 months to a year, I'd love to at least talk to them and see if they like the cut of my jib and see if they like how I do things and how I present things. Or if you are looking to buy or sell a house, please give me a call. I'm always happy to take questions and kind of walk you through the process. I always kind of tell people at this point I'm more educational than I am salesy. I don't push people into houses. I don't push people to take deals that don't work for them. I just like to present options and kind of lay out the ramifications of choosing any of those options. So feel free to reach out, shoot me a call, give me a text, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. Hope everybody has a wonderful 2023. And like I said, I'm always here to answer questions. Thank you so much.